Mr. Banu ma'am for coordinating this particular refresher cum induction program. Thanks to Dr. Komala James, Head of Department. Of course, I am very much thankful to our Principal, Dr. V. Chidambara Rajan sir, for giving full freedom for us to carry out such activities for the academic excellence of the institute, of the departments at par. So today's topic, though the refresher course is on FPGA for low power IoT, in fact today I am going to give only a brief idea about what is IoT, what are its evaluation, what are its application. The outline of presentation is primarily going to be a brief introduction, history, objectives of IoT, working and components of IoT, architecture and protocols, hardware, application, advantages and challenges, security aspects. Of course, when we learn something, we always try to find out what best can be taken out from that, so that what is the scope of the research. Because ultimately everybody would like to go into some form of research and development, so that's more important. And finally, we will conclude with the future aspects of IoT. What are going to be the future aspects? The first slide speaks about the introduction. The IoT is the network of non-living physical objects, or it can even mention the people. It can even network with the people also, or the combination, objects and people. So IoT can connect the devices, different vehicles, buildings, other items which are embedded with electronics, software, sensors and network connectivity, which enables these objects to connect and exchange their data. Implementing an IoT application concept brings challenges for many reasons, including the complex nature of the different components involved in the IoT. Because it has different sensors, means in the sense hardware as well as software are multiple, different. Anyway, let us just have a brief overview of the history of IoT. Though the term IoT was framed maybe in the year 1999, people have started thinking of a similar activity in the 19th, we can say mid of 19th century. So in 1970, the actual idea of connectivity between devices were proposed. In followed by the invention by John Romkey, created a toaster which could be turned on and off over the internet. In 1995, Siemens introduced the first cellular module built for mobile to mobile. In 1999, in fact, the term IoT, Internet of Things, were coined by Kevin Ashton. Of course, in the early 2000s, a lot of developments were there. So finally, in 2008, the complete name IoT, Internet of Things, were born. Ever since, we are having a lot of developments in terms of the devices, in terms of the softwares. As far as the devices are concerned, different devices, different speeds, different architecture, and then obviously different connectivity of various what do you call, use of various communication techniques also. After that, as you know, after 2011 also, people have started working on miniaturized one. As you know, even in the mobile communication also, initially the technologies were developed and then the technology was developed for miniaturizing the handset. Similarly, for IoT also, almost the technology is ready. Now the people are working on miniaturizing each and every device, each and every what you call hardware which are to be utilized. What are the objectives? To extend the internet connectivity from standard devices like computer, mobile, tabs to relatively dumb devices like a toaster. IoT makes virtually everything smart. That's very, very important. So that is the reason why the people are even using the word smart in many places. Even nowadays people are talking about smart city and so on. So IoT makes virtually everything smart. The thing in IoT can also be a person, because Internet of Things, in the sense, what is things? Things can be a person with a diabetes monitoring implant. Maybe he may have a implant fixed on his hand, or it can be an animal with the tracking devices. As you know, in forest, how the people study about the movement of the animals, maybe tiger or cheetah or whatever is the animal, they will just identify. How they do it? They fix a small device in its body so that they will be able to track it. So that if I just call back the telephones, when we use the telephone, nowadays most of the people are not using telephones, all are using only the mobile phones. When we used to have the telephones, normally we used to call it as a subscriber. So at that time also, the handset which we have is also called as a subscriber. Similarly, the owner of that particular telephone connection, he was also called as a subscriber. So that subscriber, in the sense, it covers the person as well as the handset, telephone instrument. Similarly, in the IoT, the things in the sense, it can be a person, because if I am going to connect, if I am going to get connected, so I may also be considered as a what you call a part of that. Or if there are some equipments, animals, anything would be connected. So that is why things in the sense, it can be a person with a person, animal or device. This is how you can understand that. What are the key features of IoT? IoT, you can understand from this particular slide, IoT, which is nothing but the automation, which is nothing but the data. Of course, the data is involved, data is getting transferred from one end to another end, maybe a cloud, maybe internet. So, obviously it is smart. It may have multiple apps, applications. It may have multiple networks. So that is how the key features are the apps, networks, data, isn't it? Automation. These are the key features of the IoT. So before we move on to the next slide, let us have a small video. Anyway, there is some problem in the direct connectivity of the once again, sorry for inconvenience. Is that visible? Now is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What is the working of IoT? Basically, the IoT process starts with the devices themselves like smartphones, smart watches, electronic appliances like TV, washing machine, and whatnot. From the figure, we can understand Any device which is connected through the internet can be connected to the IoT. When we talk about the basic components in IoT, these are the basic components. Sensors. Sometimes they are sensors, sometimes they are devices. Sensors will sense some data. It will get some physical data, for example, temperature or humidity, whatever may be. Devices, it could be, for example, you have a water heater, you have an AC, air conditioner. So even that can be a device. So that they are basically to collect live data from the surrounding environment. Second one is the connectivity, which is very, very important, which is nothing but the network and its standards. So that the collected data is sent to a cloud infrastructure using various mediums of communications, include mobile or satellite networks, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, WAN, etc. And the next important component in the IoT is data processing. I think in the recently seen video also, I think we could recognize the data was processed. Then ultimately it will give the next command to the next level of people, further instruction will be passed on to the next level. So that processing on the gathered data is very, very essential. And finally, the user interface. That is what is an intelligent action, which can be achieved by triggering alarms on their phones or sending them notification through email or text message. Sometimes it could be the SMS. For example, in one particular area, there is a huge traffic, as we saw it. So that people should be informed, okay, don't go there. Or at least the traffic man, before that particular area or in the signal, should be informed so that you can divert that particular traffic in this direction. So this is how that is to be properly integrated, interface. And it's not always one-way communication. Sometimes it is a two-way communication also. Now I'm not talking about the full duplex. It's a half duplex. I think we are all aware of what is simplex. What is simplex means? Just like the TV. The signal which comes, we are able to see it, that's all. Half duplex means two-way. In that half duplex, full duplex is there. Half duplex means either I can send or you can send. Only one at a time. That's a half duplex. I think we must have studied. The simple example is your walkie-talkie. Probably walkie-talkie, when the people use it, they use the end of statement as over. Okay, good morning, over. So that other end will understand he has finished the conversation. Then he will just press the button that is called as PTT, press to talk button, and then he will say, yes sir, good morning, over. So that is why it is called the half duplex. The third one is full duplex. Full duplex in the sense the way we talk to our telephones and mobiles. Both can talk, both can shout, so that both the voice will get communicated simultaneously. So that in this particular IoT, it is not one-way communication, it is two-way, but definitely not the full duplex. It is a half duplex. What are the components of IoT implementation? When we talk about the implementation of the IoT, one should consider about the sensors, the standards which are being adopted, intelligent analysis which are to be done, intelligent actions to be taken, and what are the networks. Networks in the sense, you may have a Wi-Fi network, you may have a Bluetooth, you may have cellular communication, you may have anything, so that you should also be able to integrate everything. So that these are all very, very important components. Let us study briefly about the individual component of that. First one is the sensors. As we all know, sensors are an electronic device which produce electrical, optical or digital data derived from a physical condition or event. Sensors collect data from surroundings, maybe the soil moisture in agriculture field, chemical explosion near a line of control, isn't it? In the line of control, LOC, people call it as LOC, border lines, maybe India and Pakistan, whatever is in between that, that is what is called as LOC, line of control, border line. Even the boiler temperature, because I think you must have learned, maybe when you are going from office to home, the moment you enter, you can go for your bath. How to immediately switch on your boiler? So that you use your mobile through the internet connection or whatever is the network you have. You can switch on that boiler so that it completely, it will keep the water ready for your consumption. Or sometimes you use the boiler at home. Maybe hurriedly you are just rushed to your office. Suddenly you recollect, oh, I forgot to switch off the boiler. So in that case, even you can switch off that. And this sort of application is applicable to many things. You can switch on. In summer, what we normally do, even after a very brisk walk, we want to go in the AC room. Isn't it? Maybe after 45 minutes of brisk walk, as soon as we come, we want a very chill air. So we automatically either keep our room cool, or we just tell someone at home to switch on the AC in the room so that the moment you enter, you feel at least a cooling in that. So here, you imagine the situation. There is no one at home. All are at, we can say, different places. So that in that case, you can switch on your AC so that the moment you go home, maybe in the summer, your AC is switched on, so your room is cool. Or the data produced from sensors is then electronically transferred by another device into information that is useful of decision making done by intelligent devices or individuals. As I said, maybe you forgot to switch off the AC, forgot to switch off your heaters, so that it will be able to give you the indication. In that case also, you can send the necessary message for switching off or corrective measures. What are the different types of sensors available for IoT applications? The purposes might be temperature monitoring, motion detection, vibration analysis, pressure, soil moisture, and whatnot you can think of. Because in science and technology, the invention or development comes only to your dream. You dream something, ultimately the technology will be developed. That is how people are dreaming each and everything. Why not this way? Why not that way? That is how the people, imagined, dreamed, then automatically the solution comes out in the form of the science and technology. The very important aspect in all these measurements using different sensors are accuracy is very, very important. Reliability is important. The range is important. I think many times, as far as the range is concerned, you must have noticed when you use a GPS, maybe you are going by your own car, you are using a GPS. So it gives the exact solution, exact location of only within a meter. The moment you reach that particular location, it says you have reached your destination. So if you just turn back, that particular house, shop, or any location is there. So that is what is the range, accuracy. That is how you are able to rely on that. So same is applicable to IoT also, IoT sensors also. Similarly, the level of intelligence, the power consumption, because you may have very accurate, reliable range, good range, but if it consumes too much of power, probably you have to spend your whole month of salary only for the power. Then imagine what is the use of having that high-end technology at home. So you have to have very minimal power consumption. And next thing is interoperability. so that one should be able to connect with one network or some other network. Similarly, the cost, it should be cheap, small in size, low cost. Obviously, the smart sensor should be there. You can just have a look of this particular slide. Different sensors are there. Maybe the position sensors there, proximity sensors, motion sensor, velocity sensor, displacement sensor. So this is how you have so many sensors, humidity, even acoustic sound, even the chemical or gas. In the hazardous environment, you want to you want to sense, isn't it? So in that case, you can have the sensor so that it can immediately tell, okay, the gas level is more interesting. So it is not advisable for the human to enter. So that indication will be given. Similarly, the flow, I think you can imagine, because there are many more such applications you must have come across. Similarly, the leaks and levels are to be sensed. I think nowadays, I think most of the people are using water level indicators automatically will switch on, hardly about 3 to 3.5 thousand. So that they are using water level indicators, automatically it switches on, it switches off the motor. When the level is low, it will switch on the motor. If the level is up to the mark, automatically it will switch off the motor. So that one need not worry, one need not go to some place in order to switch on the motor. This is applicable even for the household applications. It's applicable even for the agricultural field. Everywhere it is applicable. Next, the most important component is the networks. The networks are very, very important. The second step of this implementation is to transmit the signals or data collected by sensors over networks to the data processing center. So data is collected, it is to be sent to the data collection center for the processing purpose. So we need different components of a typical network, including routers, bridges in different topologies. Different topologies might be there. Star topology might be there, ring topology might be there. Anything could be. The networks, it could be a LAN network, that's a local area network, metropolitan area network, MAN, wide area network, WAN. So that this should be able to, integrate all the devices in all the networks. So what are such networks? Such networks could be Wi-Fi, because now I am sitting at my room. I am using for example, though I am using a different setup, I have my mobile phone which is connected with the Wi-Fi network. I have switched on my mobile also in the Wi-Fi mode as a standby for this presentation, so that in case of any failure, I will be able to cope up with that. So that means this particular connection, even my own presentation, is through your cable connection, through the Wi-Fi, and the person who is sitting in foreign places, say there are about 50, 60 participants, one may be in a different location where he may be using maybe a Bluetooth connectivity, even it can be a Wi-Fi connection, WiMAX connection, Ethernet connection, any topology, or LTE, long-term evaluation equipment, or even sometimes people may be using Wi-Fi also. So as you are all aware, Wi-Fi is using the light as a medium of communication between the different parts of the typical network, including the sensors. For example, the way the Wi-Fi, the area is covered, one particular area is covered. So if Wi-Fi is used, maybe that particular Wi-Fi is there just over my head. Maybe the light device used just fixed on the, you can say above my head, will be able to cover my entire roof because it is a Wi-Fi, light fidelity. This is what the environment of connecting IoT objects with the data center. Of course, this is the World Wide Web. So that, of course, this is connected with the cloud. You have different networks as I explained. It could be a GSM, it could be a LAN, there could be a Ethernet connection in between that, or that could be a personal area network. In that, some of the people might be connected with the Bluetooth or XB. Like that, all networks are possible for this IoT. The third important aspect is the standards. The third stage in the implementation process includes some of all activities of handling, processing, and storing the data collected from the sensors. That's very, very important. This aggregation increases the value of data by increasing the scale, scope, frequency of data available for analysis. Data aggregation is achieved through the use of various standards, even the policies, depending on the IoT applications used. The example is the soil moisture aggregation. With similar or near similar values observed from sensors in same region need not be transferred to the data processing center. For example, you have, let us say, 1 acre land. The sensors are fitted at an interval of say about 100 meters. So in that case, the soil moisture at this particular location may not be same in other location. So that is to be individually taken care of it. What are the different types of standards? Two types of standards relevant for the aggregation processes. One is the technology standards, another is the regulatory standards. The technology standards are network protocols. For example, your Wi-Fi could be a communication protocol like your HTTP, your internet. The regulatory standards basically set and administered by government agencies. Need to obey regulatory standards. For example, in India, if you want to use certain things, maybe let us say, the Citizen Bank. Though certain banks are free, if you just look into the, we can say, Wireless Planning Commission, WPC, there you will be able to get whether I can use one particular band or band of frequency for a specific application. Such things are given in the Wireless Planning Commission, WPC.org. So that is why this may even vary. Even the one more simple example which I can tell you regarding the regulatory standards is the FM. You know FM. Basically FM deals with the line of sight propagation. Maybe they may have maximum or 30 or 40 kilometers range. Beyond that, somebody might be having another FM. See, when you talk about Chennai, from Chennai, if you go towards, we can say, Tindivanam Mandal, probably you will not be able to get the signal of Chennai FM, whereas you will be able to get the FM from Pondicherry. Why? Because after a certain distance, you are able to get the FM from the Pondicherry. If you further proceed, you will be able to get probably Tanjavur or Trichy. So that is how, so that certain bands, what is the propagation, what is the mode of propagation, what is the frequency, what is the modulation, what is the application, what is the power level, everything is decided. You cannot just modify, you cannot just increase it. Probably you must have learned, always there are mobile communication, though it is monitored by the TRAI, that is the Telecom Regulatory Authorities in India, sometimes the people say one particular user has increased his power level, so that it is giving a negative effect. For example, let us say two service providers are there. Both are supposed to transmit the same amount of power. If one is increasing his own transmit power, obviously his user in that particular area will be able to get the connectivity better than this. So obviously what will happen? The users of this particular network provider will start switching on to this. Why? Because he may be doing it illegally. In that case, what will happen? This particular service provider will keep on monitoring what is the level of power transmitted by this guy, and he will immediately inform the TRAI. So trial will evaluate it. If it is found correct, action will be taken against him. How? That is how the regulatory. So that means you cannot transmit the power the way you want. Everything is fixed. So that is what is the point which I wanted to mention here. Regarding the connectivity, as I already told, there are different connectivity as I mentioned earlier. Maybe PAN, LAN, WAN, isn't it? MAN, everything. Similarly, these are all the what do you call different networks where you can connect it. Maybe starting from your power line Ethernet, going to the, we can say Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. After this also represents the range, isn't it? Because power line limited one. When you go to power Bluetooth, it can give little more connectivity. Wi-Fi again larger connectivity. The range is more. Similarly, if you go beyond that, maybe your mobile communication, 3G, 4G or GSM. I think we all have used such networks. LTE, recently people are using 4G, LTE. So their ranges are more. Even if you want higher range, obviously you have to go for the satellite communication. I think this is known to almost all of us. So connectivity depends upon the network as well as the range of it. The fourth point is the intelligent analysis. The fourth stage in IoT implementation is extracting insight from the data from analysis. Analysis is driven by cognitive or intelligent technologies and accompanying models that facilitate the use of cognitive technology. Advances in cognitive technologies increases the ability to process varied forms of information, vision, and voice, etc. Let us see few selected cognitive technologies that experiences increased adoption and can be deployed for predictive analysis are given below. The computer vision refers to computers' ability to identify objects, scenes, and activities in images. Natural language processing refers to computers' ability to work with text and the way humans do, extracting meaning from text or even generating text that is readable. Even an UAV, that is unmanned aerial vehicle, can detect the obstacles in the path, isn't it? Speech recognition focuses on accurately transcribing human speech. The fifth one is the intelligent actions, the reaction to the knowledge extracted from the intelligent analysis. I think in the video we saw that, as I was mentioning, the traffic condition. Or let us take some other example. So, like a patient is fitted with the necessary sensors in his body. The moment his body condition changes, immediately it will be intimated to the nearest hospitals. So in that case, the hospital can immediately send the ambulance. So ambulance will come to that location. So that particular information is also shared to the persons concerned. Maybe the patient's son, daughter, or parent, whatever may be. So that they will also come to the home. The ambulance will also come to the home at the same time, so that no much loss of time is there. So this is how this is intelligently handled, and the decisions are taken accordingly. So for example, a chair can shout at you to change your position. For example, if my chair happens to be an intelligent chair, if I just sit like this, it can immediately say, "Sir, please sit straight." Probably once or twice it can say. Probably third time it can say, "Sir, can you sit? Can you sit straightly?" So this is how it can even shout. In that case, my chair should be, what do you call it, intelligent enough to have that particular sense. Whether I am sitting straight or my position is changed, maybe I am drooping in the left hand side, or I am drooping in the right hand side, or I am sitting in a wrong posture. All these things should be sensed. For that, the chair should have that sensing capacity. Not necessary the chair entirely should be physically sensed. Even the sensors might be there in front of me, so that it will also have the comparative posture of my previous and the present, and then it can immediately give the command also. So this is how we can have intelligent action taken. An intelligent irrigation system can consult the agriculture experts and can turn on the irrigation motor. As I mentioned, the moment the water level goes down or humidity goes down, it can switch on the motor. Sometimes even as we were, I think we must have studied, even if the fruits are right, say for maybe a mango or even a strawberry, it can even identify the state of its ripening, whether it is ripe or not. That can also be communicated. A smoke sensor can detect and it can intelligently inform immediately to stop the electricity, so that in one particular area, if the smoke is detected, it can immediately maybe intimate or switch off the electricity in order to prevent more damages. After the IoT architectures, different architectures are adopted, maybe a 3-layer, middleware based, or SOA based, that is service oriented architecture, or it could be a 5-layer architecture. So those who are interested can just go through the different architectures, because we all consider every parameter before the application of any system. Because system means what? System means combination of different components. If you talk about the IoT as a system, IoT consists of certain identifying device, certain sensing device, communicating device, computing device, different services are enabled, different semantics are there. All these combination can be a system. So that is why we should be aware of all the aspects. So let us briefly go through what are the details about the different major elements in the IoT. First one is the identification. It's needed to name and match services with the demand. Need to differentiate between object ID, because in a room you may have the multiple fans, for example. So that you should even in our normal classroom, our staff rooms, even in our home also, if there are 4 switches, we simply mark F for a fan, L for light, it can be R, T for tube lights, maybe N for night lamp. This is how either we paste a sticker on that, or sometimes we even use the permanent marker and then you write on that. So that we need not to think which switch is belonging to this particular fan. Or sometimes if 4 fans are there in the classroom, we put a sticker F1, F2, F3, F4, and similarly we just put a sticker on the switch of the fans F1, F2, F3, F4. Maybe sequentially, or it can be random also, because switches are adjoining, but the fans might be different, or the number which we have given is different. Maybe F1, F3, F4, then F2, like that it might be there. So that is why we have to identify, we have to differentiate between objects and its address. Because as far as the IoT is concerned, all the devices should have an address. Similarly, the electronic product codes, EPC, ubiquitous codes sometimes. And as far as the sensing is concerned, whether it's a simple sensor, smart sensors, or actuators, wearable sensors, platforms such as Arduino, Raspberry Pi, etc., whatever is being used, integrated with sensors, all these things are to be, taken care. Then the third part, the communication, because we need to connect heterogeneous objects. It's not a homogeneous, it's a heterogeneous, different one. As we studied in the previous slides, someone is connecting through Bluetooth, someone is connecting through Wi-Fi, someone is connecting through Ethernet. So that is how we have to integrate multiple objects. So in that case, we need to connect heterogeneous objects. So Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, IEEE 802.15.4, Z-Wave, even LTE advanced, anything would be there. RFID is possible because we normally use RFID sort of things for multiple applications. Even the NFC means near field communication device. I think in communication, I think most of the communication professors are aware the near field and the far field. Near field means what? If the device is there, if their range is covered by a lower range, we can just call it as a near field. The example is your RFID, even Bluetooth, Wi-Fi to some extent. You can call them as the near field. What is far field? I think you have your television. Of course, nowadays everybody is using the satellite communication. We are using a dish antenna, isn't it? So that we are directly taking it directly from the satellite. But otherwise, in most of the places, even now, we have the VHF or UHF TVs, so that we use directly the TV. Antennas are being used, so that those microwave communications, they are all the examples for the far field communication. Even your WiMAX is an example for the far field. So that all these communication devices are to be taken care. Similarly, computation, how to compute different microprocessors, microcontrollers, system on chips, SoCs, FPGAs. I think the overall this particular event is being held on this FPGAs, field programmable gate arrays, so that software applications, cloud environment. So obviously one will be using the Arduino, Friendly ARM, Intel Galileo, Raspberry Pi, etc. As far as services are concerned, one should one should have the identity related services. The services may be a basic service, or it can be a basis for all other services. The information aggregation services, summarizing raw sensory data, smart health, smart grid, etc. Similarly, the service may be of collaborative aware services, so that it will take a decision, so that decision making and react. For example, as I was mentioning about the ambulance, sending the ambulance, one has to take the decision whether the ambulance is immediately needed, whether the fire engine is immediately needed. So such things are to be immediately decided, and then it should be reacted. Someone should react, either the device or the person. That is what we discussed about the team. The team should react, so that your home is a smart home, your building is a smart building, your transport is an intelligent transport, your automation is your industry is the industrial automated industry. Like that you can understand. And above all, very important aspect here is ubiquitous service. Anytime, anywhere, anyone will be able to utilize the service. That is what you call it as the ubiquitous services. Semantics. What do you mean by semantics? You can say meaning of words. Sometimes we colloquially call it as try to understand the meaning between lines. Like that we colloquially mention. So that same way, semantics, meaning of words, phrases, something like that. So that here the semantics in the sense knowledge extraction. What you arrive out of that, what you get out of that. Discovery or using resources, modeling the information. All these things are very, very important. The semantic web technologies such as Resource Description Framework, RDF, and Web Ontology Language, these are all being used. Similarly, World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, I think when you log on, even though in the internet, when you log in certain website, it won't give www, it sometimes even give W3C also. so that the around World Wide Web Consortium recommended efficient XML exchange for resource constrained devices. These are all the protocols. The protocols may be influential protocols, infrastructure protocols, after they have different types, service discovery protocols, application protocols. Because most of us are always dealing with the application protocols. Anyway, I am not going into deep on the IoT protocols. Particular certain protocols are concerned, I have just summarized some of the points of this. For example, 6LoWPAN. 6LoWPAN is a specification of the mapping services required by the IPv6, IPv version 6 over low power wireless PAN to maintain an IPv6 network. Header compression to reduce the transmission overhead. Fragmentation to meet the IPv6 maximum transmission unit. Forwarding to link layer to support multi-hop delivery. Similarly, the physical protocols I was mentioning earlier, it may be a physical protocol, so that it may have IEEE 802.15.4 BLE, that's a Bluetooth Low Energy, EPC Global, that's Electronic Product Code, LDE, long-term evaluation, Z-Wave, all these things may be using different spreading techniques so that you can understand the matrix, which spreading technique is being used, which radio band is being used, what is the frequency range. Similarly, what is the MAC access? That is the media access control. MAC access, whether it is the TDMA, CSMA, Aloha, OFDMA, which MAC access is being used, what is the data rate being used, and then their scalability is mentioned here. But I am just covering only few. IEEE 802.15.4, it's a base for the ZigBee protocol. The topology is adopted is we had star topology, peer-to-peer, that is P2P communication, even cluster tree, these are being used. Two types of network nodes are there. One is a full and reduced function devices. Full function device can serve as a personal area network coordinator or just as a normal node. So that this RFD can be, that is a reduced function devices, can only communicate with a coordinator and is limited with a star topology. Of course, the interoperability using this IEEE 1905.1, that's very, very important. So that if you are connecting a Wi-Fi, Ethernet, PLC or MOSVA, that is a multimedia over coaxial alliance, so that you have to have the interoperability. Then only you will be able to enter into the network layer. Okay, let us see some of the IoT hardwares or peripherals being used. These are some of the pictures taken from the net. You can see, though the pictures are sometimes looking big, but actually they are small. Maybe some of the pictures which are looking small here, they are actually bigger in size and in actual. So that regarding the IoT board, maybe Arduino board is quite common, quite familiar, quite famous also. IoT, Arduino board. I think for many applications people use Arduino. Of course, to know about this Arduino, its operating voltage is 5 volt. Recommended input voltage will range from 7 volt to 12 volts. Of course, the other specifications are given. Digital input output pins are 14, analog input pins are 6, DC current for 3.3 volt pin is 5, flash memory is 32 KB, static RAM is 2 KB, EEPROM, electrically erasable, programmable, random read-only memory is 1 KB, clock speed is 16 megahertz. Similarly, the Arduino Uno, because this is what is the Arduino, next one is the Arduino Uno. This is how their pin configuration, their guidance will be there. Third one is the Raspberry Pi. Of course, they are also low cost. Many interfaces are there. Huge processing power in a compact board. Readily available examples with the community support. It supports the Linux also, Python also. Developing such an embedded board is going to cost a lot of money and effort. Next one is the ESP8266. This is also very low cost Wi-Fi microchip. Easy connectivity with the full TCP IP. That's very, very important. Small size for expressive systems China. It's just a simple comparison on these three as far as the cost, Wi-Fi, programming, core distribution, storage, IO, CPU, power supply. Based on that, this is what is a simple comparison so that you can always decide one particular system for your applications based on your requirement and the specification which you adopt. Other available platforms are Friendly ARM, Intel Galileo, Gadgeteer, BeagleBone, QBboard, Z1, Pysense, Mulle, Tmote, Sky, Autos. These are all some of the other available platforms. I think some of you can even tell your kids also to use some of the Arduino boards to develop some or other household appliances. Well, it's quite cheap. Even it's available through the the Amazon website also. You can order everything. They are very cheap also. As far as IoT applications are concerned, B2C consumers are major applications. Industry and farming is another one. The infrastructure, that's why I was mentioning earlier, the smart city. So the smart city cannot be complete without the IoT. And then in the commerce side also, you have multiple applications. When you talk about the B2C consumers, if you want to make your home a smart home, then IoT is must. Smart appliances, obviously you have to have it. Even once you have the elderly people at home, then IoT will be a big relief for you so that you can comfortably sit in your office and then you can do your work. The moment they require something, you will immediately get the intimation. Similarly, industry also, or the small manufacturing, small agriculture. In the infrastructure side, as I mentioned, smart cities, smart energy and utilities, environmental monitoring, because as far as the wastage is concerned, it is to be monitored. The smart city, the main aspect is eco-friendly. So once you talk about the eco-friendly, you have to always be very careful about the wastage. And the last one is the commerce, medical and healthcare application. You need not, even if the patient is moving from one end to another end, maybe through the ambulance, you will be able to get the complete details about the ambulance, patient. Even, for example, nowadays, there are many materials being transported from one end to another end, so that you will be able to track what are the position. Not only that particular truck or the vehicle, you will be able to identify the position of each and every item. Even the transportation, because the fleet management is very, very important. You can always manage the fleets. Building automation, obviously this is picking up in these days. Once you talk about a smart home automation, because if my home is a smart home, you may have IoT implemented in locks, even for the TVs, speakers. Because you are watching a TV, I think you can immediately say, okay, reduce volume. You can increase volume. Go to channel this, channel that. So that it will automatically sense it. And then that particular channel will also be selected. Recently I saw one advertisement. I think you must have seen, maybe the Eureka. One lady is telling, isn't it? She is with a child in her hand, on her hand. She is telling that robot to see that particular flow. Automatically it's doing it. And they are also advertising. You can even operate it remotely. How is that? It's all the IoT. Similarly, the security cameras, you can keep on monitoring. You are at home, isn't it? For example, you are in your office. Maybe your mom and dad who have gone to maybe your sister's home, they have suddenly come to your home. So that you can immediately, the security camera, it will immediately send you the picture to you that this particular person is available. You will be able to see either the picture or you can even see their photo lively, and then you can understand, yes, only mom and dad has come. So from here you can switch on you can open your doors so that they can enter your home. Otherwise, what normally we used to do in a conventional way, if our parents are expected to come today, we just hand over our key to our neighbors. So that the neighbors should also be available when the parents come. That's a different issue. If they also go out at the time, then obviously our parents will have to wait either till you come or till they come. So that is how the system used to work. But here you can immediately open your doors. Even for example, somebody has come to deliver some materials at home. You order through online so that they can even deliver it. In that case, you can even at least open your gate so that you can keep it just near to your door, near the door of your home. So all these security cameras even will work in the basis. Similarly, all things, even the switch on the lights, cameras, appliances, as I was mentioning earlier. In that case, you can call it as the smart home. Even the patient healthcare monitoring. This is what I was also mentioning earlier. What is that? See, the patient is there at home. Patient may have a wristband biosensor, so that elderly person or home care patient living alone, he is having a wristband. The moment his body condition changes, maybe his heartbeat changes, maybe his temperature changes, pressure changes, whatever is the set limit, then it will immediately send the information to the dedicated cloud. Here it intellectually assess that particular parameter and then it will send, maybe it will send the message to the family also that the patient is serious or patient condition is not good. If that particular family may be in the outing, maybe they must have gone to some other place also, so that they can immediately rush to that place. Similarly, meanwhile, this will also give the indication to the nearby medical or nursing care staff to rush to that location, so that they will immediately come and see that. Let us just add a small video in this regard. Anyway, I hope the video was good to listen. So this is what is the smart city. As I was mentioning, so our smart city should have a waste management system, public safety, smart home, smart communication, smart infrastructure, education technology platform, smart community, central management services, smart services, and then the monitoring environment. Then only you can call it as the smart city. This is just a pictorial representation of a smart city in an eagle eye view. As far as the smart energy utilities are concerned, so that the energy taken maybe from the solar will be utilized for other applications. You can see different building, because this is what is the power. The red line is the power. So that the solar energy is being distributed, transmitted to all levels, maybe the building, housing, even stores, everywhere this is being even for the communication device, so that the supply is being utilized through this. And you will have a excellent communication device, not only your mobile phone, every system, every element in this smart city will be having a proper connectivity, so that the energy management will ultimately have a better handshaking of ICT, that is the information and communication technology, and the energy components. That's very, very important, and this can be very well achieved through the IoT. This is just the smart industry, just the pictorial representation. I think even in the video it was also shown. The power code will be able to give you the complete detail about that. Regarding the smart agriculture, I was also mentioning earlier, so that this will be, nowadays people go for the mass farming, hundreds and thousands of acres, they just cultivate, they maintain it. Of course, the drones are being used. You can see drones for field monitoring. So that person will not be able to go to 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers or 2 kilometers from his location in the agricultural field. So that he can very well run the drone to see the, the growth of the agriculture, or the plants, or their present condition, the water level, humidity, or is it affected by any insects, or whether the particular yield has come, whether it is right. So all these things can be measured using this. Even the water management can be done. Soil monitoring sensors can be fitted at different locations. If there is we can say rain, rain means what, automatically entire area is going to be covered. So that this will immediately tell the soil monitoring sensors will give the condition of the soil, so that automatically that will not switch on the motors. So this is how there will be a smart managing of agriculture. Even machines for routine operations, isn't it? Even for example spraying the pesticides, all these things can be very well utilized through the IoT. Of course, this is what the smart transportation I was telling. Maybe a cargo. So that cargo, so of course, through the cargo, you can see if you have a sensor fitted here, you can track the asset of this. If you have a another sensor fitted inside, you will be able to measure the cargo environment. Isn't it? If the cooling is used, you can understand whether the cooling is properly maintained or not. If we say about 10 degree, 5 degree, I think nowadays you must have seen the COVID, vaccines are being transported from one end to another end. How they transport it? They say -6 degrees, -10 degrees, their storage condition. So in that case, they have to maintain it. Otherwise, it is not that the vaccines are going from Chennai to Trichy. So while reaching Trichy, the condition is 10 degrees, plus 10 degrees. Then you cannot rely on the quality of the vaccines. So that is why they have to maintain the temperature. So that is why the cargo environment can be maintained. Even the fuel level and efficiency, if you have a fuel level sensor, it will automatically tell, yes, this particular vehicle has got a less fuel. So that immediately necessary indications can be given. Of course, in most of the vehicles, we have a indicator, fuel level indicator. They also say that here the IoT, in the sense, the operating person, maybe the owner of that particular person, will immediately understand the level of the fuel. So that geolocation, where is it actually going now? Immediately you can understand the geographical location, whether it is going near Kadangotu, whether it is going near Chengalpattu, you can immediately locate the position of the vehicle. Similarly, vehicle speed, drive and idle time, all these things can be immediately understood. And then engine diagnostics. Sometimes the vehicles are, the engine is too hot, so that in order to identify all those conditions. Driver may not be able to identify all those things. He will be simply driving. But somewhere somebody will be able to manage this particular fleet, so that for the benefits. Finally, what are the advantages of the IoT, as we all have gone through in different slides? Technical optimization. With IoT, a manufacturer is able to collect data from various car sensors. The manufacturer analyzes them to improve its design and making them more efficient. Improved data collection facilitates immediate action on data. Reduced waste. If a manufacturer finds an issue in multiple car engines, he can track the manufacturing plan of those engines and solves this issue with the manufacturing belt. I think in the recent days also, you must have read some news from 2 different car manufacturers. Anyway, I don't want to mention those things. Next is the improved customer engagement. To improve customer experience by detecting problems and improving the process. So this once you talk about the advantage, obviously there will be a challenge. Different challenges are there as far as the IoT and its implementation is concerned. Insufficient testing and updating, concern regarding data security and privacy, software complexity, data volumes and interpretation, integration with artificial intelligence and automation, and constant power supply. These are all the different challenges of IoT. Obviously, all the challenges will or may be overcome, isn't it, in due course of time, so that it will be available for all. As far as the security aspects of IoT is concerned, confidentiality, that's very, very important. The data collected, for example, from my home or my location, or maybe R&D organization, isn't it, on various aspects, they should be properly maintained. When you are sending it through the network, if somebody is going to gather such inputs, then how can we send the data? So that is why the security, the confidentiality, that's very, very important. Integrity, authentication, authorization, non-repudiation, availability, timeline, that's very, very important. These are all the security aspects of IoT. I think till now, I think we are confident that whatever we are sending it through our internet, they are safe. At least to some extent, we say that they are safe. That is why we are still using it. We are sending mails. We are using WhatsApp. We are sending our pictures. So that is how we maintain it. We believe that the security aspect is maintained. So in IoT also, I hope most of the security aspects should be maintained. So everyone should also ensure it, that particular aspect. So that the concept disambiguation. You can just look at this particular slide. You see, the world is going from virtual world to the physical world. Virtual world to physical world. How? You can see this. Machines, objects, people, world. These are all connected. So when you talk about this IoT, this is connecting virtual world as well as the physical world. Industrial internet, yes, it's connecting. So when you talk about the industrial 4.0, industry 4.0, so this is more concerned with the physical world of machines, objects and people. This is what is the industry 4.0, 4.0. In the 4.0, 4.0 or 4.0, in fact, nowadays the people are using Omicron. Actually, people say it is 0 micron. The way we call this industry 4.0, generation 2.0, that is how that 0 has become. Maybe colloquially people have started using it Omicron. That is how it has become. Otherwise it is 0 micron. 0 micron. So it's actually the 0 micron. 0 is generally termed by many of us as O. That is why it has become as Omicron. That is what is actual input. Scope for research finally. The insufficient testing and updating, you will have plenty of opportunity. Data security and privacy is another world where you can do a lot of research. Software complexity, data volumes, devices require a constant power supply, which is difficult. In fact, recently one of my researchers worked on her PhD thesis, and she also worked on the power saving of, you can say, what you call the surveillance, video surveillance. For 24 hours, when you have a video surveillance, how can you save the power? So that she worked on that power saving in the video surveillance mode. And finally, the scope for research is the interaction and short-range communication. These are all the areas where some of you can start working on that. Future aspects is going to be development of IoT with artificial intelligence. Everywhere the artificial intelligence is going to take what you call front seat. So in IoT is also IoT also the artificial intelligence is going to take over in the near future, where the data, the device, the algorithm, the computation, everything, all elements of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things device will be the final outcome in the future. So those who are interested in further research, try to utilize the artificial intelligence with IoT, and then you can start working on that. With this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you. If you have any queries, you can definitely ask me.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Any queries from participant side?
I hope I closed it in the right time. 12:45 is in time,
Yes,
isn't it?
sir. Yes, sir. Time is correct
In
time,
fact,
sir. We have maintained.
I believe in this particular point. I always tell my friends and colleagues, or particularly people who come in teaching as a fresher, I just tell them whether you start your lecture in time or not, you close your lecture in time. You may be 5 minutes or 10 minutes late, but you close your lecture in time. So with that concept, I close.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir.
I hope the presentation was useful. It was what do you call eye-opening for some of the participants. A general usefulness will be there. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Kamala, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for a very nice presentation, sir. You have started from different components for building IoT and IoT for various applications and challenges aspects of IoT. And you also had given an eye-opening for scope of research for the for undergoing our research further, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And
Thank
any
you, ma'am.
queries from participant side, please? If you have any queries, you can post your queries in the chat box. Any queries? So if there are no queries, can you wind up the session, sir? Ma'am, can we wind up? Sir? Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for giving the opportunity. Thank you.
Sir, it's our pleasure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank
All the
you.
best. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And thank you.